Baby, listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you about Stefon Diggs and Cardi B is going to make your entire spine fold in on itself. Y'all, I don't even know where to start. I don't. Because once you see what I just stitched together, the locker room comment, the federal judge order, the chef payoff confession, the magnet bar, the photos, the timing, the deleted moments, the whole little ugly puzzle, you are going to look at this man, you are going to look at Cardi, and you are going to realize, she didn't get tricked. She walked in. Eyes open. And now she's stuck. And the universe is laughing. Pull up. Sit down. Lock the door. Because this isn't a regular tea video. This is a connect the dots autopsy of a relationship that was rotten before the first photo was even posted, and tonight, for the first time, I'm going to lay out the exact chronological breadcrumb trail that nobody else on this app has put together correctly. Not the blogs. Not the gossip pages. Not the morning shows. Just me, you, and the receipts they don't want you to line up. Before we go any further, like the video, comment the word rotten, so I know you're really listening, and subscribe because the second half of this is going to be the part the algorithm tries to bury. I'm serious. I'm watching it happen in real time. Let's get into it. So here's where the story actually begins, and it's not where the blogs told you it began. The blogs want you to think it started at the Super Bowl. The blogs want you to think Cardi found out about the side chicks at the game, got humiliated in front of God and Patrick Mahomes, took her little walk of shame back home, and then forgave him a few weeks later because, you know, baby on the way, public image, blah blah blah. That's the surface story. That's the story they want circulating because it makes Cardi look like a regular wronged woman and Stefon look like a regular cheating boyfriend. Cute little narrative. Easy to digest. Safe for the brand. Safe for the NFL. Safe for the label. But that's not what happened. Not even close. Because here's the part nobody is talking about, Stefon Diggs has been carrying this lawsuit, this exact lawsuit, the one from Christopher Blake Griffin, the man accusing him of drugging and assaulting him in 2023, Stefon has been carrying this thing on his back the entire time he was dating Cardi B. The entire time. Every red carpet. Every Instagram post. Every "my boo" caption. Every Super Bowl suite. Every romantic dinner you saw on your timeline, that lawsuit was already sitting on a federal docket. And now, in 2026, a federal judge has officially said, and I'm not paraphrasing, the judge has officially said, acquaintance is not a good enough answer. You're going to explain, in writing, under oath, exactly how you know this man. Exactly. Under oath. To a judge. Period. End of discussion. You hear me? Under oath. To a federal judge. Period. Now let me tell you why that detail is the loudest thing in this entire story, and why every single blog skipped right over it like it was a footnote. Because in civil court, when a judge tells you, acquaintance isn't enough, what the judge is really telling you is, I think you're hiding something, and I'm going to make you stop hiding it. That's the translation. That's what that ruling means in plain English. A judge does not order extended discovery on a man's personal relationship history unless that judge already smells something. Judges don't waste their own calendar. Judges don't poke bears for fun. If the bench is leaning in, the bench has a reason. And that reason is sitting in a sealed box somewhere, waiting to fall out. And Cardi knew. Don't let nobody gas you up and tell you Cardi didn't know. This lawsuit has been public record. It's been on TMZ. It's been on Front Office Sports. It's been whispered in every group chat from Houston to Harlem. You expect me to believe that Cardiac Barty, the same woman who Googles a man's tax bracket before she Googles his last name, somehow didn't see one news article about her own boyfriend being sued for assault by another man? Be serious with me. Be so serious right now. She knew. She knew, she stayed, she got pregnant, and now she gets to live with whatever falls out of that courtroom. That's not victimhood. That's a business decision. And business decisions have consequences. Now layer on top of that, and this is where the dots start lining up in a way that should genuinely frighten you, layer on top of that the Tonio Brown comment. Buffalo Bills wide receiver, teammate, locker room, eats meals with this man, showers in the same building as this man, knows what the room smells like when the door closes. Tonio Brown sees a recent Stefon Diggs picture on Instagram and types, publicly, where God and the NFL PR department can see it, F-word of the day. Doesn't subtweet it. Doesn't slide into the DM, doesn't whisper it. Types it. Publicly. With his real name attached. Knowing his own contract is on the line. Knowing his own image is on the line. Knowing the league fines you for less. And he still pressed send. You don't do that unless you know something. You don't risk your own bag, your own brand, your own family's stability, to publicly call a teammate that word, unless the locker room already considers it an open secret. Tonio Brown was not freelancing. Tonio Brown was reporting. There's a difference. One is gossip. The other is a witness statement with a smiley face emoji. Tonio Brown gave you a witness statement. And then, and this is the part that made me put my phone down and just stare at my ceiling fan for a full minute, then you remember the chef. The chef. Stefon Diggs' personal chef, who told a courtroom, under oath, in a sworn deposition, that this man offered her $100,000 in cash to recant her story about being choked. $100,000. Cash. To take it back. To say it never happened. To make it disappear. Now, she lost the case. I know. The internet keeps repeating that part like it cancels the rest. It doesn't. The verdict doesn't erase the testimony. The verdict means the jury wasn't convinced beyond a legal standard. The testimony, the actual sworn words she said with her hand on the book, is still in the transcript. Forever. You can pull it up right now. It's public. And what that testimony tells us, regardless of the verdict, is that this man has a documented pattern of using money to make problems disappear. Documented. Pattern. Money. Disappear. That's not my opinion. That's a court transcript. Pull it up if you don't believe me. It's right there in black and white, sitting in a clerk's office in upstate New York, gathering dust, waiting for the right journalist to remember it exists. So now let's do the math out loud, because I want you to follow the chain link by link. 1. Federal lawsuit alleging he drugged and assaulted a man. Active. Discovery ongoing. Judge unimpressed. 2. Teammate publicly using a slur referencing the closet. Not deleted. Not apologized for. Still up at the time of recording this video, last I checked. 3. Sworn court testimony from a former employee that he tried to pay 6 figures to bury a violence claim. On record. Forever. 4. Cardi B, who is not stupid no matter how much she plays dumb on Instagram Live, knew about all of this and chose to lay back down with this man, get pregnant by this man, and now share a child with this man, knowing that when this courtroom finally opens the file all the way, her baby's last name is going to be in the headline. 4 data points. 4. And they all triangulate to the same address. So when y'all ask me, Tisa, do you think Stefon tricked Cardi? No. I will not give Cardi B that out. I refuse. She is too grown, too wealthy, too well-connected, and too much of a self-described gangster to claim she didn't see this coming. She saw it. She drove past it. She rolled the window down, waved at it, and then asked the driver to do another lap. This was karma, baby. This was karma personally addressed, hand-delivered, signature required. And before y'all flood the comments with, you hate Cardi, I do not hate Cardi B. I do not. I just have a really good memory. And my really good memory is reminding me of every single time Cardi sat on that internet and dragged JT for being with Uzi. Every time. The magnet bar. The dildos line. The screenshots. The Twitter rants. The fake apologies. The real laughs. She built an entire personal brand on calling another woman's man feminine, on questioning his sexuality, on making jokes about what he allegedly does behind closed doors, while her own boyfriend was sitting on a federal sexual assault suit filed by a man. While her own boyfriend was being called the F-word by his own teammate. While her own boyfriend was paying off chefs. The audacity. The glasshouse audacity. The bathroom with no curtains audacity. I have never seen a woman throw stones harder from inside a house made entirely of mirrors. And let me tell you something else, while we're here, while the camera's on, while my coffee's still hot. This is exactly why I keep telling y'all, the loudest woman in the room is almost always the one with the biggest secret in her purse. Almost always. Cardi's volume on JT was not confidence. That was deflection. That was misdirection. That was a magician waving a red scarf with the left hand so you don't notice what the right hand is doing. And while we were all watching the scarf, while we were all reposting the bar, while we were all dying laughing at the punchline, Stefon Diggs was quietly hiring lawyers in a federal building in New York to fight off a sexual assault case from a grown man. Quietly. Privately. With her full knowledge. That is the unique angle nobody is touching, and I want you to sit with it for a second. The "dildos up his behind" bar is not just a diss anymore. It's a confession. It's a Freudian slip dressed up as a punchline. It's the kind of line you only think to write if it's already on your mind, if it's already in your house, if it's already in your bed. Writers write what they know. Cardi wrote that bar because that energy was sitting somewhere in her subconscious, processing something she had already seen, already suspected, already chosen to ignore. And now the universe is making her eat it. Bar by bar. Line by line. Headline by headline. With a side of NFL court filings. That, baby, is what we call narrative justice. That is a screenwriter tier plot twist. That is a thesis defense level karmic arc. And if Party Pat Fontaine doesn't put that exact analysis in her next ghost-ridden Cardi diss, then she is leaving free money in the street. Free money. Pick it up, Pat. Pick it up. Now let's pivot, because the night isn't over, and Cardi isn't the only woman in this industry who tried to manifest a comeback this week and got handed a humbling instead. Scratch off. RCA. 34,000 units. Let's talk. Now I want to be fair. I want to be measured. I want to be the auntie who tells you the truth with love, not the auntie who just wants to laugh. So let me say first, 34,000 first week is a personal best for her. It is. Numbers don't lie. That is, technically, growth. On paper. In a vacuum. If you squint. If you don't think about it too hard. If you don't open any other tab. But you can't measure a number in a vacuum. You measure a number against what was promised. What was sold to the label in the boardroom. What was projected on the spreadsheet that got the marketing budget greenlit. What was whispered to the A&R when she said, "Just give me one more shot, just one more rollout, just one more pregnancy reveal." And what was promised to RCA, internally, was 50 to 60,000 minimum. Minimum. That was the floor, not the ceiling. The pregnancy announcement was supposed to be a multiplier. The feature list, Mariah the Scientist, Teyana Taylor, Doja, 21, Jelly Roll, was supposed to drag in their fanbases and stack streams. The collabs were supposed to be a coalition. A coalition. Instead, the coalition didn't show up to vote. None of them. The Mariah girls didn't move the needle. The Teyana girls didn't move the needle. The Doja girls definitely didn't move the needle, and that's its own conversation we're getting to in a minute. The 21 fans streamed his 8 bars and bounced. The Jelly Roll fans probably didn't even know the album dropped. The whole feature strategy collapsed like a folding chair at a family reunion. And when the dust settled, what's left is 34,000 units and a label exec somewhere in a midtown office writing the word "underperformed" in red ink across her file. And here's the thing, here's the part Scratch Off keeps refusing to learn, every controversy she has ever picked has been a withdrawal from a bank account she doesn't own. She didn't build that account. The label did. Her team did. The producers did. The publicists did. And every single time she steps to a bigger name, Nicki, Ice Spice, Cardi, the sexy reds of the world, she's not raising her profile. She's borrowing relevance she has to pay back with interest. And the interest, baby, is brutal. The interest is called next album sales. You wanted the smoke with Nicki? Cool. The Barbs remembered. The Barbs don't forget. The Barbs held a grudge for 3 years and then voted with their wallets by simply not buying. You wanted the smoke with Ice? Cool. Then you wanted to be friends with Ice? Cool. Then you wanted distance from Ice? Cool. Every version of that beef cost you a column inch of credibility. You wanted Cardi? Even better. Cardi clapped back on a track, lost interest, moved on with her life, started a whole entire new pregnancy with a man under federal investigation, and you're still doing interviews about her. Still. In year 3. Who's the obsessed one now? Be honest. And then, and this is the part that broke me, then you copy her pregnancy reveal rollout. You copy her album during pregnancy strategy. You copy her timing. You copy her visual language. You copy the bump on the cover energy. And then you sell 34,000. Sis. The blueprint isn't the problem. You executed the blueprint. The blueprint worked. The problem is who was holding the pen. The blueprint doesn't care who copies it. The blueprint cares who can sell it. And the market keeps telling you, every quarter, every release, every Friday at midnight when streams roll over, it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. Should she go independent? I'm going to give you the unpopular take. The unpopular take is, yes, but not for the reason everybody else is saying. Everybody else wants her to go independent so she can own her art and find her sound, and all that little artist recovery podcast language. That's not why. The real reason she should go indie is because the label has clearly stopped marketing her, and you cannot recover a stalled career inside the same hallway where everyone has already mentally written you off. The hallway has a memory. The interns have a memory. The press team has a memory. The data team has a memory. And once that building decides you're a write-off, the meetings stop being meetings. The calls stop being callbacks. The features stop being features. And you become a line item on a profit and loss statement that someone in accounting is waiting to delete. Going independent at least lets her control her own narrative for the first time in her entire career. At least lets her stop tying her rollouts to whoever she's beefing with that month. At least lets her release a song without 46 executives stress testing the cover art. At least gives her a chance, a small chance, a long shot chance, but a chance, to come back as something other than the latest punchline in a party Pat Fontaine ghost-ridden bar. But she has to want it. She has to want quiet. And quiet, baby, is not in her DNA. Moving on, because there's more. There's so much more. Pour another glass. We're not done. Let's talk about Camel Face and the Roc Nation autograph circus, because what y'all witnessed this week in Midtown was not a fan moment. It was a stage play. And the script was bad. You don't pass the Roc Nation offices in New York every day of your life and never see a fan with a vinyl outside. You don't. People who work in that building have testified, in tweets, in TikToks, in real time, that the sidewalk in front of that building is dead. Dead. Dead during release weeks. Dead during press cycles. Dead during anniversaries. Dead. And then, suddenly, on the exact week this man needs to manufacture a narrative about stadium tour relevance and demand for the new Eminem collaboration, the sidewalk in front of Roc Nation has people holding vinyls. Vinyls? Plural. Like a record store opening from 1997. Be serious. Be so serious. Now, do I think he has fans? Yes. Of course he does. The 40 and up crowd is real. They show up. They buy. They stream. They drive to Yankee Stadium. They sold that show out, and that's a fact I will not take from him. That demographic loves him and will defend him until their last breath. I respect it. I see it. I'm not blind. But the people standing outside that office building with brand new vinyls? Those are not fans. Those are resellers. Or worse, those are paid extras. eBay has been flooded for years with signed memorabilia from artists who specifically only sign one item per person at meet and greets, precisely because the artists themselves know what's happening. Drake has called it out. Beyoncé's team has called it out. Taylor's team has called it out. It is a documented industry phenomenon. People show up with 3 to 6 items, get signatures, walk 3 blocks, and list them online before they finish their coffee. That's not love. That's labor. That's an Etsy shop with extra steps. And what makes this Camel Face situation special, what makes it suspicious, is the location. The location. He wasn't at a venue. He wasn't at a signing. He wasn't at a release party. He was at his own label's corporate office. The corporate office. Where the security desk knows him by his first initial. Where there is no reason for fans to gather organically because no one has ever, in the recorded history of the building, gathered there organically. The location is the tell. The location is the giveaway. The location is what makes this look less like a viral moment and more like an internal marketing memo someone forwarded to the wrong group chat. PR stunts aren't new. Artists have been faking street demand since the 80s. The Spice Girls did it. Michael did it. Mariah did it. Everybody did it. The difference is, in the 80s and 90s, the stunts had budget. They had choreography. They had energy. They had real-looking fake fans who knew the lyrics. This Camel Face stunt looks like it was produced by an unpaid intern at 3 in the afternoon with a Squarespace budget. That's why people are clocking it. It's not even good fakery. It's lazy fakery. And lazy fakery is what makes the algorithm turn on you, because the algorithm can smell desperation faster than any human can. If he wants real street demand, drop a real song. A real song. Not a song that requires a 45-second context video before you press play. A song. With a hook. That a regular person can sing in the shower. That's it. That's the formula. It hasn't changed in 70 years. Stop hiring background actors and start hiring melodies. Hire melodies. Now, Tyla. Tyla, Tyla, Tyla. My heart is heavy for Tyla, and I'm going to tell you why, because I don't think anybody has framed this correctly yet. Tyla didn't flop. Let me say that loud for the people in the back. Tyla did not flop. Tyla got sabotaged. There is a difference. A flop is when the music is bad and the audience speaks. A sabotage is when the music is good and the conversation gets hijacked before the audience can even press play. Two completely different verdicts. Two completely different postmortems. Two completely different paths forward. Game Time is a good song. I'm sorry. It is. The production is tight. The vocal is breathy in the right pockets. The melody actually does the thing where you can hum it after one listen. It's a good song. She Did It Again is also a good song. Snippets from the upcoming album sound good. Tyla can sing. Tyla can dance. Tyla can perform. Tyla has the it factor that you cannot manufacture in a label boardroom no matter how big the budget is. You can build a star, but you cannot build a presence. Tyla has presence. What Tyla doesn't have right now is air. Oxygen. Room to breathe. Because somewhere around the time, She Did It Again, was rolling out, the Rihanna conversation detonated underneath her career like a basement boiler. And once Rihanna fans are in the comments, once Navy is mobilized, once the narrative becomes, Tyla thinks she's the new Rihanna, game over. That conversation does not end. That conversation calcifies. That conversation becomes a label on you that no PR team in the world can peel off. You become the Rihanna girl instead of Tyla. And the second your name stops being the headline and her name becomes the headline of articles about you, you have already lost the rollout. I keep saying this, and I'll say it again, Tyla needs her own lane. Her own. Not adjacent to Rihanna. Not the next anything. Not a continuation. A whole new road. South African Amapiano fusion is right there. It's hers. It's distinct. It's unrepeatable. It's the lane she opened with Water, and the moment she steps off it to chase a Rihanna-shaped silhouette, the air gets thin and the streams get thinner. If I were on her team, in a real strategy meeting, I would tell her, stop doing live. Stop talking about Rihanna. Stop reacting to fan questions about Rihanna. Stop even saying the name. Lock in, drop one full Amapiano forward record with no English pop hedging, and let the sound speak. Let the rhythm carry you back into the conversation as Tyla. Not the girl who almost was Rihanna. Just Tyla. Just her name. Just her voice. The market will reset. I promise. The market resets fast when the sound is right. Now we cannot leave this video without talking about Chris Brown and Diamond Brown, Kuruchi Jr., as the internet has dubbed her, because that text message dump. That was a public service announcement disguised as a co-parenting dispute. And every woman watching this needs to take notes. She told him, plainly, in writing, archived forever, we are co-parents, we are not partners, and the only relationship we have is logistics. Logistics. Drop-offs. Pickups. School schedules. Medical updates. Logistics. Everything else is overreach. Everything else is harassment. Everything else is a man who cannot accept a woman exiting his orbit, even when he has another woman currently pregnant by him in a different zip code. And his response? His response was a Hall of Fame red flag. You hate me but you always come back. You always turn me on. Stop being a B. That is not the text of a man who is confused about a breakup. That is the text of a man who is processing an ego injury in real time and trying to manipulate the woman who left him back into emotional proximity. That is textbook. That is page 1 textbook. That is the introduction to the textbook. If I were teaching a college course called How to Read the Text Messages of a Man Who Will Not Let You Go, that exchange would be Exhibit A on the syllabus. And listen, I'm not here to drag Chris Brown for being Chris Brown. Y'all already know. The internet already knows. The court records already know. He is rich, he is famous, he is talented, he is messy, and he is a man with 4 children by 4 women and a 5th on the way, and that math by itself is going to keep generating drama for the next 2 decades whether he participates or not. The math is the drama. The lifestyle is the drama. You cannot have 4 active baby mothers, an active pregnancy, an active lookalike obsession, and an active touring schedule without somebody, at some point, posting screenshots. It is mathematically guaranteed. It is statistical inevitability. You can set your watch by it. The advice I'd give him, not that he asked, not that he'd listen, is the same advice I'd give a younger version of every man with money and access: stop trying to replace people. You can't. The body might rhyme but the soul never matches. Every Karuchi-adjacent woman he's pursued has only proven that the original was the original, and the copies are just expensive reminders. That's a haunted life. That's a man chasing a ghost while pretending to be free. And the ghost is going to keep showing up in every text message thread until he sits down with himself, in silence, and figures out what he's actually looking for. Spoiler, it's not another woman. Doja. Doja. We have to mention Doja because 230 weeks on the Billboard 200 for Planet Her is a genuine, no asterisk achievement. The first female rapper to do it. The first. That is a record. Records matter. And before y'all jump in the comments, yes, I know the album is 5 years old. Yes, I know nobody is streaming Scarlet. Yes, I know Vi underperformed. Yes, I know. But here's the thing the haters keep missing about catalog longevity: catalog is the only metric that pays you forever. First week sales pay rent for a month. Catalog pays mortgages for life. Catalog is what you live on when you're 45 and you don't want to tour anymore. Catalog is what your children inherit. Catalog is the only stat that the industry truly respects long-term, because catalog is the only thing the algorithm cannot fake. People either keep listening or they don't. Period. End of test. So while it is technically true that Planet Her is doing the heavy lifting for her current chart presence, the conversation should not be Doja peaked. The conversation should be Doja built a catalog that the rest of her competitors cannot match. Cardi doesn't have a Planet Her. Megan doesn't have a Planet Her. Nicki has multiples, of course, because Nicki is Nicki. But in Doja's generation, the catalog leaderboard is short, and her name is at the top of it. That is not a flop. That is a fortress. A small fortress, but a fortress. She just needs to make a better album next. That's it. That's the whole strategy. Stop reading the comments. Stop fighting fans. Stop deleting the internet every 9 months. Lock in, write the bridge first, write the chorus second, and remember that the only reason we're still talking about Planet Her is because Planet Her had real songs. Real songs. Not viral moments. Songs. Bridges. Outros. Vocal stacks. Production choices that aged. That's the formula. Repeat the formula. And finally, Teyana Taylor at the BET Awards, getting the Icon of the Year nod over Sierra, and the internet losing its entire mind about it. I'm going to be honest with you. Honest the way only your auntie at the cookout will be honest with you. Honest the way that makes you put your plate down. Ciara was a moment. Teyana is a movement. There is a difference. A moment is a flash of cultural electricity that everyone remembers fondly but no one is currently buying tickets to. A movement is a sustained, multidisciplinary, multi-decade contribution that keeps generating new evidence of its own relevance year after year. Ciara had moments. Beautiful ones. Goodies. Promise. Like a boy. 1, 2 step. Hits. Real ones. Documented. Charted. Loved. And then the moments slowed. The dance evolved past her. The radio cycled past her. Russell happened, marriage happened, babies happened, gospel pivot happened, faith brand happened, and somewhere along the way the music conversation went silent. Not her fault. Not anybody's fault. Just the cycle. Just the industry. Just time. Time eats artists. Time eats everybody. The only question is what they build before time gets hungry. Teyana built. Teyana kept building. Albums, choreography, modeling, the salon era, the directing, 1001, the Golden Globe, the Oscar conversation, the Grammy nominations, the cultural cosigns from Janet, from Brandy, from the entire R&B foundation. Teyana never stopped showing up to the construction site. She picked up a hammer in 2007 and she has not put it down once. That is what an icon award is supposed to recognize. Not popularity. Not radio. Not last summer's hit. Sustained, undeniable, multi-format cultural labor. Teyana qualifies. Period. And listen, I love Ciara. I do. I grew up on Ciara. The Promise music video lives in my brain rent-free. But love is not the same as eligibility. The BET Icon Award is not a sentimentality award. It is a career arc award. And right now, in this calendar year, Teyana's career arc is the louder document. That is just the truth. Soft, but true. If you're upset about it, that's okay. That's allowed. Feelings are real. But you have to ask yourself, quietly, when nobody is watching, when the comments section is closed, when was the last time you intentionally pressed play on a Ciara song? Not heard one at a wedding. Not stumbled across one in a Spotify radio mix. Intentionally. With purpose. With your own thumb. If the answer is more than a year ago, then the BET Awards are correct, and your nostalgia is just lying to you. And nostalgia lies all the time. Nostalgia is a beautiful liar. It tells you the past was bigger than it was. It tells you the artist was bigger than they were. It tells you the moment was a movement when really it was just a moment. That's its job. That's what nostalgia does. That's what nostalgia is for. So let Teyana have it. Let her dance. Let her cry. Let her thank her mama and her daughter and Iman and Janet and every choreographer that ever pulled her into a room. She earned the trophy. She earned the speech. She earned the standing ovation. She earned the right to be called an icon. And when Ciara's catalog gets a documentary in 2031 and we all sit back down on that couch and reminisce, that will be her moment too. Both can exist. Both will exist. Nobody is being erased. Nobody is being skipped. The schedule just moved this year. Now before we close out, I want to do something I almost never do on this channel. I want to give you the timeline. The actual timeline. The one I built in my notes app at 3 in the morning while my dogs were snoring on the couch and my coffee was getting cold for the second time. Because once you see the dates lined up next to each other, you are going to stop arguing with me in the comments and start arguing with the calendar. January, 2025. The blind item drops. A small one. A nothing one. Buried on page 4 of one of those gossip aggregator sites nobody reads on purpose. NFL receiver, top 30 in receiving yards, currently dating a Grammy-winning rapper, has been seen exiting a private property in Miami at 6 in the morning that does not belong to his publicly listed partner. That's the blind. No names. No photos. No confirmation. The internet ignored it. I bookmarked it. February, 2025. Super Bowl weekend. The photos the timeline pretended not to see. Side chick 1. Side chick 2. Side chick 3, who, by the way, has not been positively identified, and I will not speculate publicly because she might be the one with the lawyers. Cardi pretends she doesn't see them. Cardi smiles for the cameras. Cardi flies home. The video of her face on the way out of that stadium is in the cloud somewhere, and one day, when she finally writes the memoir, that face is going to be the book cover. March, 2025. The reconciliation post. The soft launch, then the hard launch, then the pregnancy whisper, then the pregnancy confirmation. All of it rolling out on a schedule that, in hindsight, looks suspiciously like a PR document. Suspiciously. I'm not saying. But I'm not saying. Let the timeline speak. Summer, 2025. Quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that, in industry, only happens when lawyers are in rooms. When NDAs are circulating. When checks are clearing. When somebody's PR firm is doing very late nights with very good catering. Quiet is never just quiet in this business. Quiet is a strategy. Remember that. Fall, 2025. The Christopher Blake Griffin filing surfaces, gets minor coverage, gets buried under election cycle noise, gets dismissed by stan accounts as old news. It is not old news. It is fresh news with old roots. The federal court system runs on its own clock, not on yours, not on Cardi's, not on the NFL's. The clock moved this spring. Spring, 2026. Right now. This week. A federal judge says, in writing, Acquaintance is not a sufficient explanation, and orders Stefon Diggs to specify, under oath, exactly how he and the plaintiff knew each other. That is the headline that should have been the lead story on every gossip outlet for 48 straight hours. It got 2 news cycles and disappeared. Why? Because the algorithm prefers shiny breakup posts over slow-moving federal dockets. Federal dockets don't perform on the For You page. Federal dockets require reading. And nobody, apparently, wants to read. Except me. I read every page. I read the footnotes. I read the exhibits. I read the discovery disputes. I read the order denying the protective motion. I read it because my entire brand is built on reading the things you do not have time to read, and bringing them back to you, in plain English, with my full face on camera, so you can make decisions about who deserves your stream, your follow, your dollar, your attention, your loyalty. That is the job. That is the only job. So let me pull it all back together for you, because this video has covered a lot of ground and I want to leave you with the one thread that ties it all. Stefon. Cardi. Scratch off. Camel Face. Tyla. Chris Brown. Doja. Teyana. 8 different stories. 8 different scandals. 8 different industries. One common pattern. You see it yet? Look closer. Every single one of these stories is about the same thing, the gap between the version of yourself you sell to the public and the version of yourself the receipts eventually print. Every single one. Stefon sold the loving boyfriend, the receipts printed federal lawsuits. Cardi sold the wronged queen, the receipts printed her magnet bar. Scratch Off sold the comeback, the receipts printed 34,000. Camel Face sold the demand, the receipts printed an empty sidewalk. Tyla sold a new era, the receipts printed a Rihanna comparison. Chris Brown sold co-parenting, the receipts printed manipulation texts. Doja sold reinvention, the receipts printed Planet Her on week 230. Teyana sold patience, the receipts printed an icon trophy. Every single one. The receipts always print. The receipts always print. The receipts always, always, always print. That is the only law in this industry. That is the only law in any industry. That is the only law in any relationship, any friendship, any career, any marriage, any boardroom, any locker room, any text thread, any DM, any voicemail. The receipts print. And the only choice you ever really have is what you want your receipts to say about you when somebody finally pulls them out of the drawer in front of a federal judge, or a billboard chart, or a comment section, or a BET award stage. Choose carefully, baby. The drawer is open. The judge is watching. The chart is updating. The comments are loading. And somewhere, right now, a chef, a teammate, a baby mama, a label exec, an ex, a fan, or a journalist is screenshotting something with your name on it. Don't be the next headline. Be the receipt that prints clean. I have so much more I could say, and honestly, I have even hotter tea on next year's Super Bowl plot. Yes, Super Bowl, yes, plot, yes, I said what I said, that I cannot post on the regular timeline because the regular timeline will get me sued, demonetized, and possibly invited to a deposition I do not want to attend. So that one lives on the Patreon. Link is in the description. The Patreon people already saw the first piece. They are not okay. They are texting me daily. I love them. If you made it this far, you are officially family. Drop the word rotten in the comments one more time so I can find you when I do my random subscriber shout out next week. Tap that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the bell. Share this with your group chat, yes, the loud group chat, the one that argues about Cardi every Monday morning, that group chat, send it there, watch it ignite, report back. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll talk to y'all very, very soon. Bye.